Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Dark Sage Wolker, and before I get into it, let's go ahead and roll for the soundtrack. Boom! Alright. It's Jazz again, and I'm pretty sure this is the second time in a row it's come up. So one more time, and we will be doing something different. Alright, so last time I promised we were getting back into the Fueled Berserk spotlight, so promise is a promise. Let's get back to that. And I think today, let's try Stone Shot. I'm in the mood to throw things at people. Now I'm not entirely sure what I want to do for my signature. I guess it just kind of depends on what I'm feeling at the moment. And I'm thinking, based upon what we have right off the bat, that I might want to do something. Like, I might just go complete range if I'm not 100% yet. See, and I'm staying away from Chaos Arcana for the most part. Mostly because I don't necessarily want to. Like, I have this mindset where unless I'm looking at a Chaos Arcana specifically during this particular spotlight, that I should probably not use them so as to not spoil things for newer players who haven't unlocked all of them yet. But I'll probably end up changing my mind about that later. Alright, so I think we're going to end up going with that. Just a generalized power build. Seems like a good time to break out the old Hope Robe. And I think we're actually going to start with the Dagger of Midas, which of course isn't going to get us anywhere immediately. But because we tend to make a lot of money on these runs, especially because of my proclivity towards the retro floor plan, which, by the way, first try, what up? Here we go. Now, is there anywhere special that I want to start? Not really. I think we're just going to go and see what happens. I'm not surprised that Zeal is in spot number 3. It's almost always her or Atlas, and let me tell you, one of them I'm far happier seeing. So I am noticing that there's probably going to be a little bit of movement involved in this. Okay, so one of the upsides of this one is that you can actually move a little bit while you're using this. So you can actually reposition using you can actually reposition a little bit while you're using the Fueled Berserk with this one, and that's actually kind of nice. Being able to reposition with a projectile is really kind of nice. So far, none of the other projectiles have allowed us to do that. No, we're gonna pick that up. It's on sale. That one's a maybe. It's gonna depend on what Iris is selling. Now that is balanced. Now that is balanced by the idea that these stones don't necessarily pass through enemies, so it can be really hard to control a mob. But even despite all of that, I think we've got something really interesting here. Okay, take Razor Burst. Admittedly, Fueled Berserk is not high up on my list of upgrades, so... Don't know how I feel about having Fading Petal on this run, but it's here. If nothing else, it fills up the roster temporarily until I can find something better. That was dumb of me. Okay, the idea that this doesn't punch through enemies or have any kind of piercing effect whatsoever is kind of a big downside, at least as far as how it performs against groups. So repositioning is actually pretty important. They can do that a little bit on its own while you're Fueled Berserking, but probably better just to reposition yourself. It means that Razor comes real handy because that sets up a nice little barrier for enemies. Hang on here. What's going on? That's not what the boss is. Of course, it's actually closer to Taffy and Iris than it is anywhere else. Alright, so as of right now, it's okay. It's more or less what I thought it was going to be, but, you know, it's not horrible or anything. Right now, it feels very average. And yes, that is taking into account the idea that I'm playing with larger groups of enemies. Which means that even after the upgrade, it won't be great. But I mean, a little more control never did anything to hurt your chances, right? But I do think where it'll shine is later on. Once I have the upgrade, it'll probably do really good against bosses and bigger enemies. You know, where you can focus down on them with the... Oh, what am I doing? I'm a dumbass. Where you can just focus down on them with the Fueled Berserk rocks. I think that's going to be where we'll see it shine, is after it gets upgraded and we can use it against a bigger enemy. Now, I did see 2 relics that I liked, but, you know, we've got an entire floor to get through, and I want to see what Iris is selling. Right now, the few Right now, the upgrade to Stone Shot is probably the most important thing. with that being our priority, it's probably best to save our money until we know whether or not we're going to be spending anything at Iris's stand. That definitely got us a lot of cash. Now we just need somewhere to spend it. Very important that you make that sound effect. Yeah, 'cause you got a little windmill of fire there. I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't worry about me. He's off his meds. No, actually, I'm on my meds. Reminds me, I still have another dose of some of my meds to take. Oh, jeez. Okay, well, there is the upgrade to Stone Shot we were looking for. So now remember, each of those stones technically does less damage, but you're firing more of them. I think in the long run, that's going to make a huge difference. Alright, let's go ahead and grab the Wanderer's mechanism. And I will see if I want the Surefire Rocket, but let's be fair, with an upgraded signature spell, there is never any harm in being able to cast that bad boy more than once. Okay, well that is a shame. I don't want to give up Fueled Berserk. That's the whole point of this episode, so unfortunately I'm going to have to say no to Dr. Song. It's a real shame, too, because I could definitely use some health and another relic, but sometimes life just isn't fair. And yeah, let's go ahead and grab that Surefire Rocket. Very interesting. Though it seems like it's not doing gigantic amounts of damage, it's still doing pretty good. I think the real test will come with the twins. Actually, the real test will come with Zeal, because she takes neutral damage from Lockdown. Okay, not bad. You get a lot of hits out of it. I struggle to think that it's, absolutely amazing. So I'm actually kind of thinking where you would see something like this shine would be in a, critical projectile build. Which, admittedly, that's not what I have right now. I was thinking power would be more so what I wanted, and I was wrong. But, to be fair, I also have a very low power increase off of the Dagger of Midas, and a low power increase off of that. Right now, take that idea with a grain of salt, as apparently the Sierra Mist has volumes to say right now. To be fair, it's a little iffy just based off of some of the things we've seen before, but it's still not bad. I think part of what's affecting my brain is that I'm used to seeing it with I'm used to seeing Fueled Berserk with things like Bolt Rail, so I'm spoiled. Yeah, with the upgrade, it's much easier to keep enemies at bay, even when it's a bunch of them. That's definitely working out a good deal better. Oh, and as a follow-up to something I was saying on my Discord, yes, I did decide to go ahead and get myself a digital art tablet. And this is something that's been a long time in the making because I've been having this little, like, self-led discussion about how I want to go about producing some of the art that I want to produce. So I finally decided just to buy the bullet and buy a digital art pad. This one has a screen, so I can treat it more... I am dumb. I can treat it more like I'm drawing on paper and pencil than I would be able to with a different type of pad. Which, admittedly, other people are probably going to think that's just the graphic tab, and that the graphic pad is probably just fine, but it's not what I wanted. Ultimately, I think that's the important point, is that, yeah, it might be better for some people, but it's not what I wanted, so... There is nothing over here that I really want. What do we have? Bubbles. We got bubbles. Okay, well, we haven't seen the red portal yet, so let's wait on that for just a moment. It's actually right back through. Because if Nocturne is there, then I definitely want to gamble on maybe getting another decent melee one. It is not Nocturne, so what do we do now? Let's look. I think Tattered Scroll is the right choice because it increases overall signature gain, and we already have ourselves a signature spam build. And I think because we have Dark Katana, I think getting Shattering Strike is not a bad idea. I mean, I don't really need that, and it's probably going to take up... It's going to take up a relic spot that I don't really want to give up just for something that's kind of, at least with retro floor plan, niche in its use. But I'll say, if you're using any other cursed lobby starter, then yeah, that's definitely something you want. But if you're using retro floor plan, pretty much just... And you should never be getting to the points, so long as you're playing at least somewhat okay, where you have to worry about... You should be having to worry about how to afford items when you're playing with retro. And that was a mess. last thing we need to make this signature spam build really work is the Ancient Fountain Pen. Come on, game, you know you want to give it to me. Dark Sage, you're forgetting about the family skill. I am not forgetting about the family skill. Just seems like with what we already have, it's a point to bring up. Hey, game just decided it was Juggle City there. Okay, I might be in trouble because the game just went nuts there for a couple minutes. Which, when you have the retro floor plan on, that's all it really takes for things to go wrong. That's what you guys get. I want that, but I don't have enough health in it. And by the way, the reason why I emphasize that I'm playing with the retro floor plan so often is because I know it looks like I'm kind of playing like crap, and to an extent, yeah, probably. But I also want to make sure that you all remember that I am playing on improved difficulty. No, I don't want that. Nothing here is really striking my fancy. And even though we do have the Dark Katana, and that would work really well for Shearing Chain, Zeal resists wind, so we don't really want to deal with it too much. Oh, son of a bitch. Ah, crap. Oh, I am in trouble. The game kind of put me in aggro against multiple groups of enemies. Well, at least I know that Anders is over here, though. Let's see here. Well, this is definitely useful for the type of run we're doing. This is useful so that I don't die so quickly. This is useful because I was at death's door. Hopefully we all understand my purchasing decisions. Alright, so now I don't want anything there. Yes. Okay, Evening Gloves are making this really impressive. Now, I know that the other, like, basic Arcana buffs for the other elements are something that we're going to be looking at as well, but I would point out that the Evening Gloves would be just as good for those as well. Because even the ones that only affect the last hit, let's be fair, you're still... It still gets you to that last hit faster. But I mean, especially for magnetic follow-up, that would just... The evening gloves would make those extra, like, those extra stones pop up so much faster. That would be nice, considering how my build is working out. We also need to consider saving some money for the... You guys can stop now. Yeah, we also need to consider saving some money for... Hey, doing that to one singular enemy felt like a waste. Why did you do that, Dark Sage? I have no idea. I don't think so, boys. Jesus Christ, everything just went nuts. Okay, that room was a nightmare. Okay, I definitely need to just go get another health potion. What in the world? So one thing that you should always be keeping in mind when playing with the retro floor plan, it is a really good idea to have some range control. Like, it is absurdly difficult to play with a lot of melee spells with so many enemies around, and once they get faster and have access to more spells, yeah, that's a real issue. Which makes the weakness of Stone Shot all the more apparent, since it's really hard to deal with multiple enemies when you can only hit one of them at a time with your basic. And I don't necessarily mean you can only ever hit one enemy. I mean just each stone just stops dead. Well, at this point, that seems like a good trade-off. I am also aware that I'm a weird person that's actually okay with suffering as soon as possible. I just feel that a little extra damage and a little more stun is worthwhile. Alright, so we should have a lot of damage ups running now. So we should be doing alright. God, those stupid buzzsaw things are pissing me off. Oh my god, they're literally making it so I can't attack the boss. And admittedly, Special Snowflake is making this much easier to handle, so I'm just gonna go. Hey, Darkseid, you're taking a lot of damage. Hey, you noticed that too, huh? Gonna be able to make it through this stage? I guess we'll fucking find out, no, won't we? But with a lot more damage under my belt now, it's gonna be a lot easier. Damn it. But for what it's worth, this feels more like a PvP or like a boss thing than it does like for mob control. And even then, I feel like we've already found some much better just boss destroyer fueled berserk setups. So this feels kind of like, how it feels like what we found is fun. Don't get me wrong, even though I'm kind of getting kicked around, I am having fun playing this. But it also feels like that we've already found better. So play it smart. And even with the slight movement that you get while doing this, you do kind of knock enemies out of range a little bit too quickly to really capitalize on that. So this really feels like something that works well against bosses and not a whole lot else. Even then, there are things like Ultra that I think is better. We haven't even gotten to bigger than fist, which I'm sure is going to be like what everyone is going, yeah, but wait until you try that. I'm just thinking, okay, what will happen when I try that? So double-edged Cestus is probably the thing I should be taking. And considering what the run is built around, you know what? Let's try it. So this... Oh, but everything else is decreased by 40%? Oh, what have I done? But again, this is the appropriate run to pick up something like that. And we do have a bunch of other damage ups. It doesn't feel like it's coming off as a huge penalty. It is, don't get me wrong, but yeah, maybe next time just take the handbag. Admittedly, the double-edged Cestus seems like it would only really be good for basics that have a high max, that just have a high damage output, like a high single hit damage output, I should say. So, ironically, it would be good with the one that makes punches. Okay, admittedly that feels pretty good. Just seeing enemies now melt under the amount of damage I have to work with. He recovers so quickly. And even with that having been said, he still goes down pretty quick to my current build. Oh, I could use something that makes it easier to deal with these guys. Not bad at all. Let's have a look. As much as I like the analytical monocle, I think I'm just going to stick with what I have. Like, the only thing I could conceivably drop to make room for it is the heavy travel jacket, which I guess, admittedly, 12% damage or 12% damage reduction isn't that great, so we're going to go ahead and go for it. Well then. Like, I get the feeling that's less about Stone Shot and more about just the build itself. Admittedly, though, that was quick. Alright, so overall, what do I think of Fueled Berserk plus Stone Shot? It's got merits, it's definitely fun, but I do think that the cons outweigh the pros. But the pros are enough to keep it at essentially a mid-tier B for me. But let me know what you guys think, because of course I am going to be arranging these into a tier list when I'm done with Fueled Berserk. And then, of course, there's all the other buff arcanas that are out there that I can, dedicate myself to, but might be a bit of a break between Fueled Berserk and Magnetic Follow-Up, I'm just saying. Alright, well, that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys very much for watching. I appreciate your continued support. Drops me a like, leaves me a comment, subscribe, all the usual YouTube stuff that I don't really need to keep repeating because you've heard it all a million times. And I will catch you guys in the next one.